powerful people to learn from, to partner with. Integrity is important to both of these men. And there are a lot of scams, a lot of fraudulent investments in this industry. And in both the cannabis space and the crypto space, Daniel and Seth have made it their dedication to poke holes in the industry, to expose the frauds, and to protect investors from losing their money, costing them a bunch of time, and effectively creating some predictable, sustainable profits from these two industries. And so today we want to talk a little bit about the importance of these industries, where these industries are going, and how you can get in, how you can gain access to not only the knowledge, the mindsets, the skill sets, but the strategic action to consistently take advantage of both of these very rare opportunities right now. And so we're going to share a little bit about our Prohibited Profits course, right? History repeats itself.
Yeah.
Years and years ago, alcohol was prohibited. And in the process of that declassification of prohibition, there was a massive landslide of people who were not just people high in the ranks of business, but people of all types from all walks of life who made a fortune and are still wealthy and have been able to transfer that generational wealth to their families. And the same thing is now happening in the cannabis industry that happened then. And in the crypto space, if any of you have ever studied when currency was centralized and we went from gold standard to the Federal Reserve, once again, those that were in the know, who were able to see the small window and the small variances in the marketplace that exposed that opportunity, made a fortune. And still to this day, most of those people have control, authority, and power politically, locally in their communities, as well as fiscally and economically in their lives. And so that is why we're bringing this course to you guys. We've had a lot of people reach out saying, hey, I want to know more about crypto. And I'm sure Seth has had a lot of people reach out saying, I want to know more about cannabis. And so we've partnered together to offer this knowledge to you so that you can take advantage of Prohibited Profits right now. And over the next few years, you have an opportunity to not only make a fortune, but to create a generational shift in your legacy. So fellas, I'm going to turn the mic over to these gentlemen. Daniel Zacchaeus Davis, why don't you just start us out? Tell us a little bit about the cannabis industry. Tell us where it's headed. And then, Seth, we'd love to hear questions you have that you hear people come and ask about the cannabis industry. And then we'll flip it over to Seth and we'll do the same thing. We'll put him on the hot seat. We'll find out about the real gifts that crypto has to offer, what the future holds in both these industries. So Daniel, if you want to start and just share with people a little bit about cannabis industry and what to expect, and Seth, some questions.
Absolutely. Well, we're here to talk about two of the biggest profit markets, and that's cannabis and crypto. And we partnered here with Seth as he came through the Cannabis Profits course as well. And actually, these two markets in themselves are incredibly unique. Both of them are unique, how cannabis relates to alcohol prohibition. Now, with that being said, the generational wealth opportunity in the cannabis industry, many people may not understand that this provides an opportunity for most people to create wealth that has been prohibited. And that's the reason we call it prohibited profits. So let me explain a little bit about that. Is if you know anything about the SEC, the regulations that exist and what an accredited investor is, that is defined by how much money you have in your bank account. And now we stand here for true justice and love in what we teach and integrity in this industry. So with that being said, to define somebody's credibility by how much money they have in their bank account is a complete injustice. And I want to spread the truth behind that, because this industry right now provides you the opportunity to create generational wealth because you don't have to be an accredited investor. And it's a very unique opportunity because the federal funding, the cannabis industry is federally illegal, so it does not have access to federal funding, right? Well, that's what the SEC is. It's federally regulated and everything else. So all of these cannabis companies are turning to the publicly traded stock platforms to be able to raise money, raise investments, scale their growth. And this is why it creates such a unique opportunity for everybody to get involved. But one important factor of that is education and experience. I started in this industry almost 3 years ago. I've been trading very successfully. And when I first started, I really wanted a coach. I wanted some guidance because with this unique industry, I didn't or couldn't understand how it was working, right? So I've spent my time here behind the scenes learning about the market mentality, creating a course, creating an educational platform that I didn't have access to back when I started about 3 years ago. I've been following this industry for 3 years now, and I've really got a good overall view of what makes it move. If you follow us here on Cannabis Investor Group, I create some content that's actually going to really help you guys understand the market mentality, what moves this marketplace, and really how to benefit and capitalize by understanding that through education and experience. So, Seth, I know this relates a lot into the crypto market because, like I mentioned, they're both really unique. What do you think is the most unique thing about the cryptocurrency marketplace?
Well, crypto is it's a speculation market right now. We've got this new technology coming out that basically we used to have trust in the individuals. It used to be, back before governments, there was one-on-one. You would do a barter system. Maybe back then you were trading cows or chickens or what it might have been at the time, basically bartering. Then we moved to a government-based system where we trust the government and these third parties, banks, to take care of the accounting, make sure who gets paid, what they're owed, what that proper amount is, and basically be a moderator in that transaction. And now with blockchain, what we've done is we've basically moved to a trust-based system where we have triple ledger accounting that actually there's no way for anyone to misrepresent what's owed or to, sometimes you get psychopaths who might want to try and scam you or, bring things out of context in their favor. And what that triple ledger accounting does with blockchain is eliminate that entirely. It's actually recorded on the blockchain. When you get paid, that's an open ledger. It's public information, and there essentially is no dispute when that is finalized. So that is the real power behind blockchain, is that it's now moved that to the power of the people, if you will.
Yeah, absolutely. And you talked about it, the speculative marketplace, that's what really makes these two markets unique is cannabis actually really relates to that as well, as it's not running off, the fundamentals and the assets, the financial balance sheets and income statements and things like that. So we do have that very similar in common is these are speculative marketplaces, but there are ways to be able to identify and forecast not only price movements using technical analysis, but your intuitive ability as you gain education and understanding behind both of these marketplaces, it's going to create a better intuitive ability to forecast where these price movements are. And the more you're involved, the longer you're involved, it really allows you the ability to see what goes on behind the scenes. And that's one of the best things that I've actually done is I stopped full-time trading back about 6 months ago to focus full-time on these courses that we're creating here to be able to provide more content and information for you guys looking to fully understand and capitalize on these marketplaces using fundamental analysis, technical analysis, and market mentalities, reducing your risk management. And also something that's very important that most people don't understand is creating a strategy or a profit strategy, as I like to call it, or an investment plan. Seth, is that something that we find here in the crypto marketplace as well? Is it's important to have a plan or a strategy of how to capitalize on these?
Absolutely, no doubt. And today there's something over 1,500 cryptocurrencies out there, and it's easy to get lost in that. So I honor your decision, Daniel, to teach and educate, because it kind of goes back to that old saying, right? Give a man a fish, he'll eat for a day. Teach a man to fish, and he'll eat for a lifetime. So that's my goal as well, is to help educate people and give them those tools to make smart decisions in the market.
Yeah, absolutely. And so you've been investing for 20 plus years, right? How long have you been involved in the cryptocurrency game?
I have. I initially got started in crypto just about the same time you did in cannabis, about 3 years ago. And it was a new market. There were obviously far less different cryptocurrencies in there. It's really scaled up a lot in the last year, 6 months even. And so that's initially when I got in. Let me ask you, Daniel, when is this a good time for cannabis investors to be getting involved? And why should we invest in cannabis stocks?
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's an incredible time for both industries, both marketplaces right now, because in the overall aspect of things, both of these industries are in their infancy. And I know cryptocurrency, Bitcoin, for example, has had tremendous growth, creating tremendous wealth for people who were very first initially invested. But that opportunity is not gone. And it's not gone for cannabis, as we've had Canada come online, and really their stock prices have really boosted up into the multi-dollar level, to where most of these were penny stocks just less than 3 years ago. Some of them I've witnessed, it goes hand in hand with cryptocurrency. The very first investors made buku bucks, right? But that does not mean that the opportunity is gone. There is years, decades, and centuries, and both of these have an opportunity to change the financial landscape of investing, honestly. And with cannabis, I found trading and long-term investments together really create a great profit strategy, because we really see market swings right now. Because it is a speculative marketplace, I think that relates as well to cryptocurrency. But we're in market swings, speculative swings. So the long-term investors may have a false sense of belief that this is a bull market. And there's a significant difference here, as these swings go up and they come down pretty dramatically. And if you're not trading throughout these opportunities and taking profit at a lot of these, you're actually leaving a lot of money on the table, which you can buy back in at the low term after these swings calm down a little bit, in order to put that profit into more long-term investments for the decades to come, which we show tremendous growth in both of these marketplaces right now.
Absolutely. That's one of the strategies we try and focus on with the Crypto Wealth Coach group is once you get involved in a position and put for instance $1,000 into Bitcoin, once your Bitcoin doubles or triples 200% or more, what you want to do at that point is actually take that initial investment capital out of your position and put it into another position, thereby eliminating your risk in that first position, and kind of rinse and repeat again, and take advantage of all the different technical opportunities that are out there. And that's a key strategy with this.
Yeah. Well, and you mentioned something a little bit earlier, and I just see the similarities between these tremendous is, there's a lot of ICOs coming on, right? And it's the same thing with a bunch of penny stocks, and what we find is a lot of manipulative techniques and scams and traps that are out there. And a few ways, is there ways to protect yourself there in the cryptocurrency from maybe not investing in some of these ICOs that really are, I guess the question more is, how do you protect yourself from some of these ICOs that aren't really credible?
So the ICO market is far more riskier than a token like Ethereum or Litecoin that has already been released and is acknowledged in the marketplace. So the ICO stands for initial coin offering, and you got to be careful. Basically, it comes down to doing your research, right? Educating yourself, understanding what you're investing in, being aware of the management team that goes behind that, what their experience may be, and what they're bringing to the table, and what the end result is going to be. Because I believe the last number I had heard was something like about 50% of the ICOs that collect money from investors actually have not quite finalized their coin or their token yet. So that money is either lost or is in limbo, if you will, and hasn't been released yet. So it's a riskier market from that sense, because a lot of folks actually don't do their homework and are just putting money in, looking for those big rewards without fully understanding it. That's one of the techniques we try and teach. But on the flip side is it's high risk, high reward. Those ICOs that actually do finalize and go to market tend to turn some, you know, ridiculous numbers like 30,000%, 50,000%, even 100,000%, if you can imagine that. It's for the 4 that you might lose, the other 5 or 6 that you do win, those numbers can be pretty dramatic. So it's important to diversify in that market space.
Yeah, absolutely. I could definitely see the importance there if you are invested in, you know, some of them high risk, high reward ones, where it would be more important to diversify them. And that a lot of that goes along with the cannabis industry as well, as some of these are valued at like 0.0001, but I've seen them, you know, shoot up to a few cents at a piece just on speculative swings. So it's great opportunity. Like we've seen tens of thousands of gains here in the industry. It's pretty good opportunity and amazing to watch here.
So with your cannabis investor course, Daniel, how do you help students develop their own investment strategy and give them the tools to be successful in the long term?
Absolutely. I think the number one thing is financial literacy, and that comes with education. If any of you out there read Rich Dad, Poor Dad, he has 3 books out there. I'd highly recommend every one of them. It'll open up your mindset into financial literacy and the importance of having a plan. And that's what I created a profit strategy for, is to have parameters and guidelines using indicators, oscillators, buy signals, sell signals, things like that, along with a good intuitive ability that you create from experience and through education. And so through that, our students, we're going to work on a more personal level, on one-on-one basis, to be able to help them provide guidance and experience to create and set some of these parameters, guidelines. And then one of the most important aspects is to monitor, track that, and make adjustments as you go to make sure that it's working successfully, and be able to tweak it to make sure that you're maximizing your profit, reducing and minimizing your loss, and reducing risk in the same aspect.
It's that GPS analogy, right? You can go out and buy a new $500 GPS, but if you don't update your software once a year or periodically throughout the year, you may miss those roadblocks or those closed roads. Perhaps there's an accident, things like that step into the way. So continuing to evolve your strategy is extremely important.
Absolutely. And I know both of us right now have a course on the table here in cannabis. If you're interested in it, it's called the Cannabis Profits course. We have it on the market. It's an 8-module, 8-week course that is set to fast track your ability to capitalize and create on cannabis profits, and create sustainable, predictable income in this industry, which we're starting off at $9.99 for at least 24 students, launching on March 13th. And this, if you are interested, this Prohibited Profits course is another one that all 3 of us are working on here, that is kind of something that'll give you a great insight into both of these marketplaces. And Seth, I know you have a course on the table again. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
We do. We have basically 3 branches of support, and we do one-on-one deep dives. We will basically one-on-one coaching, where we may look at your portfolio, give suggestions, help you build that out, and try and diversify on the individual level. We also have what we call our VIP course, which is I do 2 to 4 recommendations a month, giving a technical analysis and a fundamental analysis of cryptocurrency opportunity. And we also have what comes with the VIP is basically a community of active crypto investors, where you can ask questions. You can basically a resource for you. And then our 3rd branch is what we call our elite services, which is actually for those who may want more of a more hands-off approach, and we do account management. And it would be a profit share partnership setup.
Nice, man. That sounds like you're all over the table. It's great. So there's a ton of services out here, guys, that are being offered as far as education and stuff to be able to fast track your ability. And I think what Seth was referring to is pretty much a mastermind group, right? You could all get together and mastermind this together. And that's what we plan on creating. Welcome back, Jeremy Eugene Wilson.
Great content, fellas.
Thank you, brother.
I wanted to bolt a couple questions on at the end here.
Absolutely.
We've got some questions coming in on Facebook, and I wanted to make sure that you guys had had some answers while we had a few minutes. Seth, one of these questions is for you. You know, there's a lot of people that see posts all over social media. They have friends, they have family, coworkers who are making money at crypto. And there are a lot of people who have no idea where to start. So there's a couple questions on the board. Where to start for somebody that doesn't even understand it, for one. And I think you've done a good job. Seth has a group called Cash Cow Crypto. That's his free group where he shares a lot of free resources for those who want to capitalize on collapsing that confusion and creating some clarity on where to start. However, one of the other questions that comes up a lot in crypto, Seth, is what is the difference between Bitcoin and crypto? If you could just answer that briefly for our audience, I'm sure they'd appreciate it.
So cryptocurrencies is the term is a reference for any token or security that is actually on the blockchain. It's almost like a stock certificate, if you will, that a company will issue, and those coins are called cryptocurrencies. So Bitcoin is a cryptocurrency. And then you've got the three main that pretty much everyone knows about. There's Bitcoin, Ethereum, and Litecoin, which are pretty much the three pillars of the industry. And then any of the other 1,500 plus cryptos are what are called altcoins or alternate coins. And so cryptocurrency is that stock certificate, and they trade just like stocks. They've got ticker symbols, and you can look them up and see the prices go up and down, and that's part of the technical analysis and doing some of those day trades and swing trades. Nice. So Bitcoin is crypto.
Yes, great answer. I think that's what someone was attempting to answer for us in the comments, but I wanted to make sure that they heard that answer from you so that people could understand that Bitcoin is a cryptocurrency. There's a couple other questions. Daniel, I would love to ask you this question. Yeah. What is the difference when you come into this market between gambling and predictable profits? What are the big things that make that difference that you focus on teaching your students? Because a lot of people, whether it's crypto or cannabis, but there's a lot of people in the cannabis industry saying, hey, the government could yank this tomorrow and it could all be gone. This is gambling. How can you answer the question to those that are curious about the difference and the key distinctions that separate cannabis investments in a predictable profit potential versus a risk and gambling potential?
Right, absolutely. The difference between investing and gambling, as I've mentioned them before, is pretty much education, your understanding, your knowledge base, and your wisdom. How do you achieve that? Experience. So, we don't really do financial advice and recommendations out there, as we focus a little bit more on helping you with the terms, with the ability to be able to create and understand technical analysis and fundamental analysis and how to reduce your risk. And that comes with education and experience. And one thing about this is, if you are on the fence out there and you think that the plug is just going to be pulled on this industry, right now we are witnessing the birth of a brand new commodity, the birth of a brand new global industry. And with the global support and the reenactments, the trends that are reoccurring from alcohol prohibition when it ended, we're seeing a lot of them trends happen again. And so the global support right now is tremendous. It's huge. We got like 12 companies, or 12 countries developing cannabis industries as we speak. So this is just like the development of the still industries or the automobile. It's a brand new commodity that's hitting this globe, and that's why it creates such an incredible opportunity to create generational wealth.
Beautiful answer. Fellas, this has been great content. I think the audience is going to have a lot more questions after they have a chance to review this. I would love to do another one of these very soon. But Seth, I would love to just hear a similar answer from you. There's a lot of people, especially crypto hit the mainstream media about 4 or 5 months ago in a frenzy. And a lot of people start bad-mouthing things like that when they hit the mainstream media. There's that quote, as soon as your barber's talking to you about investments, that's time to get out of those investments. And we both know that is not the case with cryptocurrency. And so there's a lot of people out there that are on the fence. They're just sitting there going, gosh, dang it, I see this opportunity, but at the same time, I don't want to risk my nest egg. What can you share with those people to help them see that crypto is just like cannabis? It, with the right education, can be predictable. and that it is far from gambling and it is far from heavy risk when you have that education. Could you answer that question for those people?
It is, and knowledge is key. And one of the factors with that barbership analogy is that all the focus was on Bitcoin, actually. And Bitcoin has done well. It's actually recently been on a bit of a pullback. It hit about a little over 20,000 back in December, and since then, being a retail market, some of that money has scaled back out. I think we're about 11,000 last I looked. So that will fluctuate. But a lot of the big money that was made in Bitcoin was back when Bitcoin was $100, less than $1,000. A lot of those folks that had the strong hands, if you will, made a lot of money. But again, Bitcoin is only one cryptocurrency. There is a lot of solid technologies out there. Bitcoin being one of the oldest, it's talked about a lot. But there's also some challenges with Bitcoin that some of these newer cryptocurrencies actually will take care of and address. Privacy being one of those. A lot of folks seem to think or have this misinterpretation that Bitcoin is private, and it actually is not. It's a public ledger. Anybody can look up and do an analysis between different wallet IDs to see who might actually own it. And a lot of that comes down to taxes. But one of the new markets that are emerging right now, and that I personally believe will be very big for 2018, are privacy cryptocurrencies. One in particular that I like is Monero. And I believe, with Bitcoin being at $10,000 or $11,000 today, even if it goes to $1 million, which a lot of smart folks like Bill Gates are speculating that it will, which will be a huge return. Something like some of these smaller cryptos, these privacy coins like Monero, Pivot, Zcash, for some of these coins to go to like 20,000, 25,000 would actually be a much higher return in terms of ROI than investing in Bitcoin. And they've got better technology behind them that improves on that original Bitcoin blockchain.
Beautiful. Beautiful answer. And look, for those of you watching that have been on the phone, do some research. Reach out to Daniel. Reach out to Seth. Ask them to share any kind of resources with you, and most likely they've already created something either for free or that is included in one of their courses, which are an absolute steal. And I don't say that because I'm partnered in this in some capacity. I say that because both of these gentlemen have consistently, sustainably created success for others, and not because they're holding their hands, because they are transferring this specialized knowledge, these skill sets. And so in the Prohibited Profits course, you're going to get a taste of that. And so if you're not ready to jump full in, both feet, into the Cannabis Profits course or the Crypto Wealth Coach VIP group, we are going to be offering this as its own product, as a course that you can access to both learn about some of the basics behind both of these markets, behind both of these industries, as well as learn the fundamentals of investing. Learn what kind of trader you actually are. Learn the type of investments that are most comfortable for you. And then also gain some really, really massive advanced knowledge in fundamental analysis and technical analysis. The two areas most important when investing that you have skill sets in. When you have the appropriate skill set to see a chart and predict its increase or predict its decrease, that, my friends, is when you make money.
Right.
And in the world of business, predictable and sustainable profits is the most valuable substance. So guys, if you want access to that, we're offering that product for $297, or it comes as an added bonus for free if you purchase either the VIP group membership or the Cannabis Profits course. So thank you guys for being here today. If there's anything you'd like to share to close out, Daniel or Seth, now's the time. And I didn't see if there's any other questions that came in, but if there is, and we didn't get to them, we will do our best to answer those in the next 24 to 48 hours over on our private pages.
Yeah, and that's just what I was going to say. If there's any questions out here, guys, we are here to help. We're here to provide guidance, help, education, and experience. So if you are interested or you seek any guidance, feel free to reach out to us at Cannabis Investor Group or on my private page, Prohibited Profits, and we'll get you the help that you require, guys. We'll help you create some profit here.
I appreciate the opportunity to be here and looking forward to helping you guys produce some results. You are the people that we serve. Earning profits are the problems that we will solve for you. Being consistent is what Daniel and I bring to the table. and we look forward to working with you. Thank you again.
Absolutely, guys. Thanks for joining us here, and we will talk to you here soon. Much love, guys.